So, moving on.
I feel complete.
We're good now.
We're good now. Okay.
All right. So that's not what we're going to talk about at all.
We're going to pause for a second, and then we're going to start. We're going to save all of that, though. I'm checking the time. 29 minutes.
Yes.
Well, hello there. I tried.
She's totally put on her hostess with the mostest voice there, and I just can't even.
If you had been present a moment before we started the show, you'd understand why she can't contain herself right now.
You know how we have said, and you have heard if you listen on a regular basis, that sometimes we start talking and then we start the show in the middle, and that wasn't a choice we were making today.
No, we won't share what we were sharing before because it's just not worth sharing. I will simply say, think of it as the Dr. Seuss book, Oh, the Places You Will Go. And we went to all of them.
But I guess, we needed to get it out of our system.
Yes.
Before we could sit down
and then we're going to talk about that without actually going into the context.
Talking about that.
I'm Sonya Lee.
And I'm Piperlyne. And welcome to In My Experience.
So today we are looking at, what were we going to talk about today? That's like my third time. I cannot keep it in my head.
Self-discovery.
Apparently I can't do that. There's no self-discovery here today for me. It's all about Piperlyne today.
That is what took us down this entire path, was self-discovery. I promise.
What I've discovered is that I have a very short attention span or memory. I don't know. Okay, we're going to get it together.
In the future, I think that we very likely
Mel?
yes.
Who's Mel? He's going to be the next guest on our show.
He's going to be coming in and taking care of this for us. We very well may share what was at the beginning of this. But,
yes.
But not
down
not
the road,
today.
but not today.
Not today.
Because today we're laughing like we're in a good mood, which we are. But we had to clear all of that stuff to get here.
Yes, there was a whole bunch of clearing.
Yes.
A whole bunch of clearing. And that's where we ended up with talking about self-discovery and how, and self-inquiry, and how...
Self-revelation.
Self-transformation.
Self-transformation.
And how literally it's never done.
Oh.
You're never finished. You're never complete.
Not as long as you're here.
No, right.
And I don't know, even on the other side. I mean, I guess you could eventually return to source and be home and just become, as I talked in previous weeks, not the drop, but the ocean.
Yes. Where you just join in with the all.
Right?
But, not while we're here.
For sure.
We get to continue to learn things that we didn't know.
Yeah.
And I don't care who you are. And I don't care how much work you've done. There's guaranteed things that you don't know.
There's always something.
Or there's something that you thought you knew.
Right? Or there's something that you didn't know
And
that
then,
you knew.
There you go. There you go.
And then, what's the fourth quadrant? What you didn't know that you didn't know?
Yes.
And that's where we're going to start today, kiddies.
What don't you know that you don't know you know? Or that you don't know that you don't know.
Yeah,
There we go.
That's it.
Oh, Lord.
And that is a place for self-discovery. Having that awareness of something that you didn't know. In this case, it was a conversation around boundaries. And knowing that you know boundaries or enforce boundaries or whatever, and then finding that there's a weakness in your fences.
That you didn't even know
No.
that you had a fence, let alone a weakness.
There you go.
So to put this more in concrete terms, so setting boundaries ever since I was a child, was a very big thing for me that I knew that I needed to.
In fact, we're going to be doing a course here soon, and one of the topics is going to be on boundaries, and she's the lead dog on that one because she's so much better at it than I am.
So there's the boundaries, right? Energetic boundaries you hear about, physical boundaries,
Yep.
you know, not going any place where you feel unsafe, period.
Letting anyone put their hands on you.
Right, right. Emotional boundaries, spiritual boundaries, all of these, right? And so from a very young age, I'm like, I need them because I felt all flappy and open.
I love that feeling.
Flappy and open.
Until I step in gum.
It's not fun. And so it's a thing. And if you've ever worked with me as a client or even been a student of mine, we've talked about boundaries.
Or even just met her.
Okay. Well, maybe that too. So anyway, and it's something that's important to me. And
Should be important to everyone.
it should be.
Not that we want to shit on you.
It's how we self-define. I mean,
Yes.
you can choose to. So there's say someone does something, right, and it crosses your boundary. So you can respond or not respond, and it's not necessarily that one way is right or wrong, but it's the intention behind it. So if someone crosses your boundary, you know it, and you choose not to respond because you have decided in this moment that it's okay or appropriate, then that's fine. But the exact same situation, someone crosses a boundary and you know it and you're scared or unable to do something about it, that's a completely different experience.
Right.
So, I mean, the first thing is realizing that, yes, you can have boundaries, then realizing what they are, and moving them as needed.
Knowing that you can change them at any time.
Anytime.
Whatever,
and in different situations.
Right. Maybe you didn't have a boundary with someone, but now because of a shift in you, you want to create a boundary.
Right,
That causes
absolutely.
a lot of problems usually.
that can always cause tension in a relationship, yes.
Yes. But that is your choice.
Right. And it may be appropriate that there be tension in that relationship because something else needs to occur in that relationship.
Which brings us back to self-discovery.
Right. Right. Is this boundary okay with me? Do I want it to be okay? Do I really feel like it's okay? What does it mean if I choose to let it go? Is it okay to do it, let it go for right now, for this moment, for this person? No, never, period. Everyone has hard boundaries.
Let me just say really quick, you don't have to do your self-discovery at the level. She's a professional here, okay? So if in a moment you were like, God, that's a lot of questions.
I'm sorry.
Listen, you will hurt yourself. Don't try this at home, people. Don't try this at home.
Stretch. Stretch
Yes,
before you
yes,
say-
stretch before you do this.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
No,
Anyway.
I love it because that is exactly how your mind works.
Okay, you're right. Yes. About this subject.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, and the whole point is that's how I work, right? That's how I think, that's how I function. I'm always looking at that type of
Turning
decision.
her diamond. She's turning her diamond.
So then today, just a little while ago, when we were talking, there was something that came up for me without going into detail, and I realized that there was a boundary that I didn't know that I had, and we'll call this an energetic or spiritual boundary, and I had been allowing someone else to cross that. Energetically, correct. And I was gobsmacked.
I love that word.
I mean,
She was. That's a perfect word.
Sonya helped me pick my jaw off the floor, and
Handed her a tissue.
and then I had to take my sweater off because then I was goosebumps and sweating and you know, for someone who does self-discovery, you know when you hit a truth.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Even if it doesn't completely make sense to you,
Yeah.
which I have had happen.
And the body doesn't lie.
Right. And I'm sitting here talking about it and it's happening again. That's how big it is. So you hit on some type of energetic or spiritual truth and your body's like, yeah. You're like, damn.
And let's say that you don't even know energetic, spiritual, what? I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, thank you.
You know that your kid or your partner or your animal is doing something that they shouldn't be doing right now. And even though they're not within your vicinity, your eyesight, or earshot, something within your body quivers and says, they're up to something.
Right. Well, yeah.
You know.
Right.
Inner knowing.
And that may be something that many of us can continue to grow within us, right? Because
Sure.
that's all about our own evolution
Yeah.
and embracing and understanding that.
Neptune in Pisces says now is the time.
Oh, there you go. Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, so I ran smack dab in the middle of that, and we talked about it a little bit, but I'm going to, I acknowledged it. I know it's there. I need to address it, do some work on it through meditation. So I've got it packaged up in a nice little bow, take home with me tonight.
It's like one of them like aluminum cranes for her leftovers. Take it home with her.
Or as Sonya says, we're going to put a pin in that.
Yes.
And come back to
it
that later. Yeah, so that was amazing. And the thing is, I mean, it surprises you. It can be shocking, even blow you off course. But I love that shit. I mean, I live for that.
You go from like, what to wow.
Wow. Thank you. Yeah. Because now I can address a situation that I have been stuck in for a while. And now
Gobsmacked no more.
and I am beyond grateful. Self-inquiry.
Whether that continues once you start going into that, when you
Once I
unpack
dive
that
into the
swan.
Yes.
I'm kidding.
Oh, good
But no,
times.
yes, you're right though, and it doesn't always happen that instantaneously or that effectively
No.
or that, completely.
Well, I mean, but this is also, I will say, this is something I've been working on for a while. So yeah, this isn't like no.
Yeah.
This isn't my first shot out of the back.
Yeah.
Out of the gate here. So yeah. And it'll feel different for different people based off of who you are and what you do and what you know. But yes.
And why talk about this today? Why is this even important? Because, well, if you're not growing, then you're dying.
I agree. I subscribe to that.
Right. And how did you feel when you first showed up this morning physically?
Oh yeah, what did I say? I was tired and swollen and bloated. So that was fun.
Your body was sad.
Yes, I did say that. I took that from my son. He tells me his body is sad when he doesn't feel well. And I did. I said my body was sad. Absolutely. And now I don't feel so sad.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So that's why self-discovery is so important.
Right.
Because you can create for yourself internally, without any external force, a powerful shift. And it's so, now, don't get me wrong. I'm a foodie, so I like my local, we got a tray of biscuits in front of us. Some people like retail therapy. Some people work out. Some people have sex. And all of those are great, but those are all external.
Right.
So when you're able to do that internal healing, that internal therapy, she didn't have to get up out of the chair.
Nope.
I didn't even have to get out of the chair. I was going to give her some Reiki. I was like, damn. But she did it all herself. And that's the thing, that's what makes her, such a powerful spiritual being. She can do this all by herself. And we are all just walking alone on this journey, side by side.
And everyone can do that. Everyone can do that. Self-discovery has, for me, and I know for Sonya, has been like number one on my list of things to do in my life for a long, long time.
Every day, new list, that's at the top.
Right. So what am I going to learn about myself?
Today.
And the thing is, when we do that, right, that means that there may be things that we need to let go.
Absolutely.
Or change.
Yep. Or bring in.
Absolutely.
One of the things that also happened this morning as we were sitting here was looking at an astrological chart pool and getting some information on the rays, the 7 rays, and that gave us some new insight and information. That might be a tool that she can call in when she's doing her work a little bit later today. I mean, there's, it appeared random. In fact, had you been sitting here at the table with us, you might have even said schizophrenic.
You'd be like, what are y'all doing over there?
There's like 27 topics on the table. What's wrong with them?
Why, yes, there is.
Why do you have to have 3 different kinds of cookie? Put a cookie type out there. No.
And 4 different types of tea.
And 4 different types of tea. I like variety. Mm-hmm. But again, little bit higher functioning processor system. This is what happens when you clear the pipes, right? We were talking about that earlier too. And like I always have this analogy of, the work we're here to do is it's like your sewer pipes, right? And you know how nasty and disgusting those can be if you ever have to take the drain apart to clean them out. But there's just like years and years and layers of like slime and stuck on food. No, I know she loves every time I talk about this. And, sometimes you have to get down there and you have to rotor-rooter it, right? Mm-hmm. Because it gets clogged, it gets backed up. And then sometimes you can run the snake through, just a little hand snake, and you can clear it, and then the water kind of flows. But then, or you pull the big hairball out. And then, how's this for visual people? And then,
I know, I'm like hanging onto the table.
Hopefully
here.
you aren't watching this in the morning or at dinner time. But it's visual and visceral.
Right.
Just like our experiences.
Yes.
And that's why I like it so much. Because, it's so true to form for me, right? But I have to do it. I have long hair. I don't want my husband to have to clean the hair out of the drain for me. He will. That's why I love him. But sometimes I'm like, you just got to get your hand down in there, girlfriend, and pull your own nasty hair out. Yeah. And so that's what I do. But sometimes to really clear it out, to have good flow, you got to have the plumber come in with the rotor-rooter that they pull out the back of their truck. It's like, 150 feet of line. And they go all the way out to the street, baby. And now you got power. You flush that toilet and it goes... Who has not had their insides feel like shit?
Yes.
So, take my analogy, use it as you will. It makes me feel better sometimes in knowing that, okay, there's a reason for this. Yeah. My clogs are piped. And B, I have the tools to rotor-rooter it out.
Right.
So I can make the stink that's coming up out of the drain go away.
Right.
And the stink, my thoughts.
Right. Absolutely. Thoughts and beliefs.
Oh, beliefs too, thank you. I try to stay away from those whenever possible.
But they're there.
Yeah, they're there.
Yes.
But sugar's there too. I don't eat it either.
Well, I'm happy to say I don't eat it. I don't eat it either. See that? But yes, absolutely.
Thoughts, so my metaphor, I get it. It's a bit much. You won't forget it.
Right. This is true.
And that can only help, right? So, knowing that and knowing where we are at, where you are at, she's more, my pipes were running clean. I thought I had good flow. Where'd this backup come from?
Right.
Right? Well, I guess I better go investigate.
Yes. Well, when you're feeling connected and all of a sudden you realize that suddenly, for whatever reason, that there's more of a connection that you can feel.
Love that one. Tell me more about that.
Well, it's the experience. Once again, we're going into what we don't know, what we don't know, we don't know.
Right?
Right? Yes, totally been there, totally understand it, totally get it, and then you have an experience and you're like, damn, I didn't know what the hell I was talking about.
Yeah. That's so surprising, isn't it?
And it's
just when you didn't think there was anything new to learn.
Oh my goodness. It's nonstop learning. Being a student of life it's never ending.
And sometimes this is just like my troubles. Right? They're like tribbles. Have you ever watched Star Trek? It's like the trouble with tribbles.
I don't think I know what that is.
Oh, classic. You got to find it on YouTube.
Oh,
so they
okay.
bring this cute little furry ball onto the Starship Enterprise.
Oh, is this like the grandparents of the, what are those little fuzzy things?
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Not Goonies.
Oh, yeah, Goonies.
No.
Not Goonies.
No. Furby? No.
Furbies. Yes. But you're thinking about the movie Gremlins.
Good. Thank you, Gremlins.
Mugwai.
Yes. Okay, anyway, continuing.
So anyway, they bring them in and they start replicating. And literally before you know it, like the ship is just overrun with these things.
Wow. Is
And
this
then-
classic?
Yeah, it's classic Kirk.
Oh, I don't remember that one.
The Trouble with Tribbles. I am a little bit of a Trekkie. Mm-hmm. So sometimes your thoughts, your beliefs, the challenges in your life can be like those tribbles. Mm-hmm. And they're just a multiplying and a multiplying. And then sometimes there's so many, like I think there's literally a scene where like Captain Kirk was sitting in his chair and there was like tribbles and they were like, and like one like literally like bounces and hits him on the head or lands in his lap or something. Like they're just, how am I going to solve this problem? Mm-hmm. Right. And especially right now, because there's just so much happening and so much that's unknown in the world. Like there's so much that we know we don't know. There's even more that we don't know. We don't know.
Right.
Like we are living those 4 knowledge quadrants every day in 2021 and 2020. Because we needed to get moving a little further down the path. Some of y'all, I'm not saying me, some of y'all
over there.
not me, was dawdling a little bit.
Yeah.
Hanging back, you're bringing up the rear. But everybody else was slowing down to see why you were slowing down, and now we're all slowing down, and we got to speed up because we got to hurry up because we're supposed to be a little further than where we're at right now. I don't know who said that. It's a feeling I have.
Right.
And so these issues, I'll call them that, in quotation marks, that we've had to deal with and contend with here in the last year. Because really, I mean, next month we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary for the world. And I love that I can say that. It's not a 1-year anniversary for the United States. This is a global first anniversary.
Right.
What have you learned? What have you discovered? Did you claw your way up? Or did you get slid or stepped on and pushed back down? Mm-hmm. The one good thing that I can say about all of this, and hopefully it's hopeful, and I truly believe this is not me blowing smoke. It's through my own self-discovery and inquiry that I've been told this. Mm-hmm. We're all gonna cross the finish line.
Right.
Okay? There are some that might just get plucked out, right? Tapped on the shoulder. Mm-hmm. You're exhausted. Go take a break, right? Mm-hmm. But we are all going to move forward. Right. And so that does make me happy because it really was very concerning to me, being that compassionate being that I am.
As she rolls her eyes.
Because I don't know why I am that way, but I am. I just can't quit you humans. So anyway, we're all moving forward. But if it feels like you've been, you're like Paula Abdul, and you took 1 step forward and then 3 steps back, that it's just because this is your opportunity for your own self-discovery.
Right.
Right. And so maybe, in hearing that, it's an invitation to take a moment, to take a knee, to go within and to see what is really here for me now. And again, have you ever in your self-discovery experiences come away afterwards going, well, that didn't help at all?
No, never. Now, the
you might have felt that while you were going through it.
This sucks, y'all. saying to whoever is there with me at the time.
Right.
But no, I mean, some of the assistance may have been temporary, or it may have been perfect for the moment and not something that I take with me for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But I have never in my time of self-inquiry or self-discovery been, well,
That was a waste of
what
time.
the hell was no, I have said what the hell was that? I take
Yeah,
that back.
yeah.
But I have never said that was a waste.
Yeah.
Never. And you know, and we've said this before, and I'm going to say it again, talking about this specific podcast. It's so easy for us, for humanity, all of us, to focus on the insanity and the craziness that's outside of us, because there's so much, right?
Shiny objects.
There's so much. So it's so easy for us to do that. And so once again, the risk of repeating ourselves, the road is to look at what is going on within you. That's it.
That's all there is.
That's it.
It's that simple. And there's nothing simple about it.
Right. I tell you what, we people don't like to be wrong, right?
Yeah, when we've already talked about change.
Right.
All
right,
of January.
Right. I don't want to be wrong. I'm not going to change, and duh.
And my perception is the correct perception.
I am always right. So there's that.
Right. Right? I agree.
But yeah.
I'm not going to argue with you.
That's right. So there. We're done. Thank you. Thank you for joining our TED Talk. We all of us have points in that. And so self-discovery,
Awareness.
Reflection, inquiry, all of that takes us to the point where we have to realize that there are errors in our thoughts and errors in our judgment and errors in our perception. And when I say errors, I mean that we have been seeing, judging, perceiving things in a way that doesn't help our higher good. So we may be right,
Correct.
quote unquote, in believing or perceiving whatever, but if it's not assisting us for our own evolution, then there is an error.
Yep.
And owning that and taking that in. And that doesn't mean there aren't people around us with their own errors, because we all have them.
Right.
Right. So that's
Right.
not saying that they're
sometimes
not
the
there
errors
too.
will bump up against each other, and then
Right.
you get like the blue screen of death.
Not the blue screen of death. That is no fun.
When I
Hurry, put it into safety mode.
try to do. I have broken so many computers in my early days of computers. It's like, how did you do this? I'm like, I don't know. Usually because
Cool,
of impatience. It won't close or open, and I hit 12 keys, and then it just goes, I give up.
Oh my goodness. Slow down. Let it
Right,
process.
let it-
Whatever. No, I want it now.
Right? Did you see how we process?
Yes. I'm sorry. When I'm working faster than the computer, there's a problem.
Sometimes that's the case.
Yeah,
I
that
write
could
a
be
lot
it.
faster than I type.
Do you?
Yeah.
And
And
I
I
talk
hate
a lot
both.
faster than I write.
Right? That's why I can't do either. I can't type or write. So, these are self-discoveries that I have made about
So
myself.
much self-discovery.
This is why we're doing a podcast and not a blog.
Oh, so many yeses.
Can you keep up?
Yeah, here we are.
Are you hanging with us? Have we lost you yet? Is this thing on?
Hello. Oh, yeah.
And you have to have a sense of humor about it all.
Yes.
Because we literally went from just ambivalent, not even really ambivalent, pessimistic ambivalence. Slightly pessimistic ambivalence. On the verge of negativity to neutrality, to release through tears and then laughter. In a span of 15 minutes? Right? It happens that fast, right?
It
But if
can.
you're paying attention, like major changes happened in her life in this moment that she's been working on for some time.
Right.
It's not like I brought, it had nothing to do with me. I just happened to be sitting here. Sometimes, though, when your rabbit ears don't work, you put a little aluminum foil on it. I was like the aluminum foil in her rabbit ear.
There you go.
But that process of self-discovery, and I think, too, there's trust between the two of us.
Yes.
We have facilitated for each other before, so we kind of know each other's higher selves. Like, they get together, I think, from time to time on the weekends when we're doing other things. They talk, I don't know. But, so, we were able to support each other in that respect. Right. And hopefully everybody can find someone that can be a support system. But it's not necessary. Like I said, I just happened to be here.
Right.
Absolutely could have done it on our own. But, sometimes we need to expedite it, And so, or we just, my hair is stuck on my button. Can you get that untangled for me? And that's what we do for each other. If you don't have that or you don't want that, it's not a necessary part of it.
No.
You just do it yourself. Although I will say that for me, sometimes, I don't know if this is true for you, writing it out or talking it out if I'm by myself can help too. Like talking always helps because I actually hear what's going on inside of my head and then I pick it up. Go, wow. And then you feel that vibration within your body too as you're communicating or expressing. But you can do these things on your own. And you don't have to do great, big, scary things. You can just do little things, right? I had a conversation with my grandchildren in the car this morning, and the youngest one says, wouldn't it be cool if you could know all your past lives? And I'm like, hey, I do. Well, not all of them, but I know a few of them. And then it was like
a whole bunch.
A whole lot, right? And there was like silence from the back seat. Like, I don't think he quite knew what to do with that. But that's been part of my self-discovery.
Right.
Right? I knew that there were things about me that I couldn't make sense of in this incarnation.
Right.
And so I was able to find them. And through my studies, becoming a hypnotherapist, I actually was able to see and relate to some experiences that had happened before I, quote unquote, woke up, where those were past life recalls at an earlier, I just know that that's what it was.
Right.
And I think you've said that you've had, like, even in childhood, right? You had some past life recalls.
I did.
So, these self-explorations have been pretty much since coming out of the womb. Right. And really, I don't think we're alone in that.
No.
However, I do think that it's not usual because it can make for challenges in childhood.
Well, I think it was less usual when we were kids.
Yeah, these kids nowadays.
I think it's more usual.
Right. But we had to raise the vibration in order for them to be able to bear that. Because
yay them.
How, right? But think about like okay, so what do I mean by that? The first 6 weeks of my life, my mother said I screamed non-stop. I couldn't keep anything down, right? I know I was screaming because I was like, oh my God, I'm here again.
Why am I here? Yes.
Right? And I just regretted instantly upon arrival. And so for the first 6 weeks of my life, I did. It was just terrible for my mother. She couldn't breastfeed me. I couldn't take anything. Everything came back up. And I recognized that, that probably was a little bit of resistance for me in childhood. And it continued. I've got other points of memory where I can see and clearly recognize that I had information, but it was such a challenge because nobody around me knew what the hell I was talking about.
Right.
So I either got shut down or in trouble.
Yeah.
Right? So vibrationally, it wasn't supportive.
Right.
And so this is why I think that wouldn't be recommended for many. Now, though, there is more vibrational support. Like when my grandchildren say something to me, I say, I believe you.
Right.
Because I do.
Right.
Because I can see the possibility of that. Right? Sometimes my dog Layla comes to see me and I miss her. I believe you when my granddaughter tells me that. Right?
Absolutely.
She's 5. Of
Right.
course she's seeing, right? She cries for, a lot of times at night. So of course Layla's coming to see her. So she doesn't want to see her cry.
Right.
But that's new. Like, it's not. It's very, very old. But it's new. And so, for most people, self-discovery doesn't start until a point later in their, like, they do the human thing, and then eventually they wake up. A lot of fourth dimensional sort of experiencing in your 20s and 30s. And then finally, you start to wake up and realize maybe there's something more than, drudgery or the Paris Hilton experience. I don't know. Your mileage may vary.
Or keeping up with the Joneses.
Or keep it, yeah, whatever. But with our children, and we see this now, right? The way that they stand up for things, they support causes, or they defy them.
Right.
Right? These are evolved souls. These are souls that are taking their self-discovery and doing it openly, publicly for the rest of us to bear witness to.
Right.
And for some to wake up to.
Absolutely.
So, why self-discovery?
It's the way, man. I mean, I can't. Dude, I don't even know.
She totally turned into like this old Grateful Dead. Jerry Garcia was sitting across from me a second ago.
On a total side note, I have to tell you, he did come and haunt me for a period of time. I mean, it wasn't haunting, but
No,
he did come
he visited
like
you.
regularly.
I think he's one of your spirit guides. As I told you, we're tie-dye and a headband with white hair. What the hell?
I had a roommate, and I was constantly smelling pot.
Right.
Constantly.
Sounds like a cool roommate.
Except for it wasn't her.
Oh.
It wasn't her. I mean, we were friends for years.
Right.
So I didn't care. And it
Right.
wasn't coming from her.
Right.
I mean, I would smell it when I
Right.
was
Just around
at
her.
the house alone.
Right.
And I'm
Wow.
like, do you smell pot? Because I don't care, but do you?
Right.
She's like, no.
No.
I'm like, come here. She's like, I don't even know what you're talking about. And someone told me later, they're like, Jerry Garcia, man.
One of the
Alright.
biggest potheads to walk the planet.
Bring it.
Oh, that's so funny.
Bring it. So, yeah, that was Jerry. Peace.
Nice.
So,
Yeah, it is the way, though, man. It's the way.
it's the way. But I don't know how to be any other way. And the thing is, I believe that there are more people than may not even know it at this point, who are also this way.
Right. I didn't wake up till I was 44.
Right. But they're not utilizing it. Or not aware that they can step it up, right? This goes back to the whole everything that we've been talking about, and so it's there. And I have this firm belief regarding life with the capital L that it's conspiring for us, not against us. And so, if my intention is to evolve, and it has been ever since I was a teenager and I didn't know what the hell I was talking about.
Right.
I was like 12, 13.
Right.
And I'm like, this is what I'm going to do. Okay. Sure.
Hopefully, I'll see what that is.
We'll see where that goes. So, if that is my intention, then everything that happens in life is an opportunity for me to do that. Literally. It's not like, I mean, there's so much information out there.
I know. Are you
in the
choking
world,
on that
right?
elephant?
Yeah, huh? Lord. So there's so much information out there, and we can search for it, and it can look crazy, like we were talking about, or we don't have to search for anything. And we just look at literally what started the whole process was, for me today, was a text.
Yep.
It just came up.
Yep.
And as anyone who has gone through this process, you know, the pieces just kind of tumble together. And if you're willing to see them,
Yes.
then you can just write them out to an amazing outcome.
It's another facet of, and in a moment, your entire life changes.
Right. Absolutely.
And that, I think, is the greatest potential
Right.
of the path work of self-discovery, right? And we both have, Buddhism past life experiences.
Yes, we do.
And, and that is one of the major, precepts, or, you just work on you.
Mm-hmm.
And then that information or that shift ripples
Mm-hmm.
in the pond
Right.
for others. And I was listening to something the other day, and it was fascinating. I think it was Rick Levine.
Who's an astrologer?
Who's an astrologer. But he was talking about, I have to go back and see who it was, but they were basically talking about how waves don't actually move across the horizon. They bob up and down.
Mm-hmm.
To the eye, it looks like a ripple,
Mm-hmm.
like a wave moving to and fro,
Mm-hmm.
but it is just the byproduct of a bounce.
Oh, all right.
And how you can prove that is by looking at, like, for example, a buoy. Buoys don't move, they bubble.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, there was what I didn't know that I didn't know.
Right. Absolutely.
And in the context of what he was explaining, it was brilliant.
Yeah.
Like, it literally is like, that makes all the sense in the world. No one's ever explained this to me like this before, but that makes all the sense in the world. And so what does that speak to? Perceptions.
Right.
And how they can be shifted or changed when you have a different perspective or a bigger, broader view or more information, right? And that's another reason for self-discovery,
Right.
because it allows, and sometimes, like for us, like we were talking about rays here a little bit ago, as it came up through the astrology stuff, and we both have seen this 7 ray, fifth ray of divine whatever.
Right.
But we were like, oh, okay, and we just
Whatever.
kind of went, yeah, there might be a color associated, maybe a Saint Germain or somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But in looking this up to see the weight that it carries in our chart, so to speak, there were a lot of things that we were like, oh, that makes perfect sense.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And while it seemed totally random in the grander context, it actually was kind of filling in some blanks.
Right.
Or connecting some dots.
Connecting dots, yeah. And that just happened. It wasn't a larger intention. It simply occurred, allowing life to unfold.
Yes. As it will.
Right.
If you invite it in. Mm-hmm. Really. That's all you have to do. You don't do anything. You just, although I will say with that,
Disclaimer.
always caveats. Invite it in a loving, gentle, and life-affirming way. Because sometimes I've invited that stuff in, and it was hard and painful and treacherous.
Yeah.
And not fun.
Not fun.
Not fun. I want you to have fun with this. Mm-hmm. Right? Part of the reason why we do this, and one of the things about the level of our self-discovery, and again, this isn't an egoic thing. It simply is, because trust me, the ego credits I get from knowing this about myself does not make up for the shit that I've had to contend with in my life, right? Like, this isn't a power that I'm like, oh, yeah. You can keep it, okay? But this is what enables us to be able to sit here because we've done this so that we can help and be that beacon of light for others that may have inquiring minds, right? We're like the National Enquirer. Inquiring minds want to know.
I hope we're not the National
No, we're not
Enquirer.
the National Enquirer. That was bad. Sorry, I shouldn't even go on that. And so,
But inquiring minds do want to know.
they do. And so we talk about our experiences. We talk about the things that we've learned our whole life, like the
Right.
only way that we know to be. And we specifically came in like this because that was our promise to the collective, to be this here now. Oh my God, this getting me emotional.
Well, that totally steps into purpose, right? How many people have you seen or heard or talk about or read about? What is my purpose? My purpose is, and any variation of that, right? I will absolutely claim that my work in self-inquiry and self-discovery has clarified that beyond imagination. And that wasn't necessarily an intention either, but it's a side effect of what occurs.
Well, I look at it as I have a life purpose and then a soul purpose.
Right.
And those two sometimes line up, but they are different. And really my life purpose is a choice. My soul purpose is an assignment.
Right.
And, so the choices are a little more limited there.
Right.
And when you are looking for purpose, and like what we do here and what we share and what we allow to be visible to the world is so that you can see what it looks like, kind of, sort of. Like, and again, and the reason that they sort of hesitate like that, because these are really challenging things to identify. The best that I can say is that if you live through it, then you'll know that you've experienced it.
This is true.
Right?
Right. Well, when we talk...
What does it look like?
I don't know.
Survival.
Well, talking about your evolution,
Yes.
right? Transformation, becoming more aware, more awake, whatever term that you want to use. All of that, that's a deconstruction.
Yeah.
That's a tearing down. That's a pulling apart. It's an intense experience. It is letting go of so much shit.
And when you say that pretty much everyone gets to about 28, 29, and then when that first Saturn return hits, it's like there's your reset.
Yeah. Yeah. Saturn return happens every year. What that means is when Saturn comes back to the place that it was when you were born,
right,
in the astrological chart.
Right.
It happens between 28 to 30 for everybody.
Right. Just like you have a solar return every year around your birthday.
Right.
Saturn return takes about 28 to 30 years, depending on
just the speed of everything.
Right.
Right. And so it's like when you become an adult, like a real adult.
Because
right?
your life gets real adult-like.
And things, and that could be, I mean, you may have had children before that, but that could be like a serious, maybe marriage issue. It could be a business issue. It could be a health issue. It could be everything. But it's your wake up.
Yes, it is.
It's your wake up of, okay, now it's time to be a big girl or a big boy.
I just had another awareness around that too. I have to share real quick because
Yeah.
I always thought of, like, there's a lot of people that have died at the age of 27.
Yeah.
Like famous people.
Yeah.
And from a numerological perspective, I always just attribute that, well, it's a 9.
It's a 9 number, yeah.
It's also right before their first Saturn return.
Yeah, it is.
I can't face.
It's too much.
It's too much.
Yeah. And that's 20, died at their own hand at 27, right? I mean, I know that there's a solid number of well-known artists or, yeah.
It wasn't just because it was the 60s, man. Jerry made it.
Jerry did make it. Made it well past that.
So yeah, I digress, but that was like cool because
Right.
that just occurred to me as you were saying that. And it's true. And then you have another one at 56.
Right.
And usually by your second Saturn return is easier unless
You didn't do the work.
in your first one.
Right.
Then it's, from what I've heard, because I'm working my heart on mine, baby. From what I've heard, it's just awful.
Yeah.
And I don't want to scare anybody if you're coming up on, 56 or whatever, 57. But it just, again, one of the things why I love astrology so much, because there's just so much there. And you can find a lot of this in your own natal chart
Right.
as well.
But if you're not into astrology, I do want to mention or have Sonya mention a practice that she has used regarding books.
Oh, yeah. You mean where I just pick up a book,
Yes.
get drawn to a book, and I pick it up and I open it, and right there is exactly what I need. And it's, over the years, like people that know me know, I can attract a book like nobody's business. I can attract a book like nobody's business. Usually secondhand, too, which is even better, because why kill a tree? And I like to save money. But yes, I have a law, and now it's not even books. I mean, it's moved to videos.
Right.
And I also will have things where it will come back to me 2 or 3 times. Mm-hmm. Like I'll think about something, or somebody will say something, and I'll be like, I don't know. And then somewhere throughout the course of the day or the week, that will come back 2 or 3 more times.
Right.
We're like, I was just talking with someone about this. That's always a good, clear sign for me to pay attention.
Right.
Some of you might pay attention to numbers on the clock, and yes, that's a good thing. That's someone in the ethers, I'm not going to label or judge it, trying to get your attention.
Right.
Hopefully it's your higher self. And so these messages come in a lot of different ways, but books, great. Like if you ever feel, and in fact, I saw something recently on Facebook where they did something like text, like go to your phone and click like the third word in your predictive text until you come up with a sentence. Those never work for me, by the way. They're completely stupid and random. But I've seen it on Facebook where some people, it's like they totally got a message from that, right? So I don't get it like that. But it's similar to that.
Right.
Where it's just like, open a book. I need a message. I need an answer. Stand in front of a bookcase and just look, or go to a bookstore and just wander until something catches your eye. It might even be out of the corner of your eye. And then focus in that section until you beat on something. It can be anything. It could be a word. It could be a color. It could be a phrase. It could be a location. Mm-hmm. For some reason, my eye was drawn to the 4th shelf down in this bookcase. And you just pull it out and you just let it open.
Right.
And see what is there for you. And that's a great practical way to start an opening up communication that's verifiable with your spirit team. Mm-hmm. It's a little Pam Growdy in that too. Mm-hmm. But I've been doing that since I was a kid.
Right.
Like, since I was a kid.
Right.
And I've always gotten good information. And by good information, I mean it has made me feel better inside myself. Mm-hmm. Right? Made my body happy. Mm-hmm. So, there's so much to all of this. And it's deeply, deeply personal. And we are all going through it.
Right.
So there's solidarity and unity in that. You are not being punked by the universe. I am not. Piperlyne is not being punked by the universe. It may feel like that at times, but that it is loving, right? Like
right.
I'm not using that example. I don't care what you say. But they're just, like when you're a kid, you get a spank, they're like, this hurts me more than it hurts you. I'm doing this because I love you. No, that's bullshit.
Not using that one, thank you.
Not using that one. Although they're like, hey, you got it out on the internet anyway. But, okay, that was then. Now we just say, what is for my highest and best?
Right.
Right? That feels so much better. It's a question you could ask. So is this punishment for my highest and best? Because I don't know.
I don't know if I'm vibing with that.
I don't want to
now.
question your authority. And
Oh, actually, I do.
I do want to question your authority.
I completely, totally, and wholly.
As I'm staring
question
you
your
down,
authority.
eyeball to eye, as I'm eyeballing you. But I don't want to question your authority. So, we're here to not only embody and do and be all of this as quickly as possible, as completely as possible, and then to make it readily available for others. And now it's kind of like going from the individual to the masses.
Right.
Like this is just the evolution of us. But that's what we came in to do.
Right.
And like a lot of times you'll get people like, oh, I can't wait till I get to, doing things like you do. Yeah. You don't want to go through the hell. And I'm not saying this to be glib. You don't want to go through, I don't want anyone to go through the hell that I went through
Right.
to be able to show up like this today.
Yeah.
Like I'm here and I did it. Somebody's bringing me my contract the second I'm on the other side.
We need to talk about this shit.
I'm just saying.
I'm bringing my lawyer.
We may have to change some laws or rules after this. Okay? Because I know I agreed to it. I just don't know. I just don't know.
Right there. I just don't know. That's it. That is it. Yeah, you can, we've talked about our own self-exploration also. Meditation,
Yes.
hypnotherapy,
Yes.
past life, regular therapy.
Scream therapy.
Energetic therapy.
Right? Energy work, body work,
Astrology, cards.
numerology,
numerology,
oracle, tarot.
Right.
Whatever.
Reading, watching, and it's just
Ceremony.
ceremony. Yeah, that's a weakness of mine. I participate when someone else will do the organization. I'm not a...
I was just, earlier we were talking, I love invoking.
Yes. Yes. I'm just here for the ride when that happens. I totally will be a follower and sit back and just, be there in the group with that one.
I really blame Masters of the Universe. Because I saw that and I was just like, I have the power. I don't know if that was Masters of the Universe. I think that was He-Man. I think it was He-Man.
Oh,
could have been
all
He-Man.
right.
Or She-Ra. Remember
She-Ra?
She-Ra? Isis. By the power of Isis.
Yes, I do. And then, did she spin? Or...
She did spin.
Okay.
Not in the same way that Wonder Woman spun.
I was going to say Wonder Woman spun.
See,
Spin.
We had strong, powerful goddesses on the TV shows for us growing up. We need more of those. Not a 1-hour movie. I had a weekly session with Isis and Wonder Woman.
Xena, baby.
Xena.
Oh, my God.
Hello. Red Sonya. Hello.
Hello. I do remember Red Sonya. Yes.
So, anyway, I digress. I like to play and have fun. It can't be serious all the time because this is really serious work.
Right. Irreverence is amazing. I remember I was in a class and we were talking about spiritual concepts, and the class specifically was talking about religion, and I was a student in the class, and I brought up being irreverent and how it was so deeply important, and I thought I had daggers being thrown at me energetically from so many people. I'm like, of course, being irreverent, of course it's important. It has to be. All of this means everything and nothing all at the same time.
That's right. I can neither take anything, anyone, or myself too seriously.
No. Good Lord. I'm not.
And when I
don't
do,
want that.
I must have had that built into the contract too. The contract. I was conned here, people. Of if I get too big for my britches, if I take myself too seriously, be sure to make sure that I face plant publicly.
Right. Oh, you're going to think you're that important here. Okay, great.
And there's hee-haw.
So yes. being able to laugh at yourself is so
And life.
deeply important in this whole process.
And, I say cry until you laugh or laugh until you cry.
I'm a fan of both of those.
I am too. And sometimes they happen interchangeably, whatever.
I laugh, cry, cry, laugh,
Right?
laugh, cry, cry, laugh.
And live with a capital L. Because that's what this life is about. It's about living. It's about experiencing. It's about scaring the crap out of yourself and others.
This is true.
Look at the children. The fearlessness, right? I had sons, so I saw it a lot. But that openness, that fearlessness, that presence. Mm-hmm. And we really need to be fostering more of that for them. Like, that's every adult's responsibility, is to foster and not shut that down. I read something recently, I don't remember if we talked about it last week or not, but it just broke my heart, because it was like, you wonder why your teenager won't talk to you or confide in you when they're struggling.
Oh, yeah.
It's because when they were a child and every time they had an emotional outburst, you shushed them.
Right.
You told them to suck it up,
Right.
to swallow it. And so why would they think that they can trust you with their
Right.
emotions and their feelings? And I am a guilty party of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes you tough. That's what makes you strong.
Right.
I have learned, and I've learned from my mistakes with some of my older children, because I have learned the power of emotions.
Right.
Rather than feeling conflicted or burdened with them, because I grew up in a household where I was ridiculed and mocked for my emotions,
Mm-hmm.
while other members within my household very much fostered, don't you hide that, don't you stuff that, you express it.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very contradictory, not unlike my life, but there was this sort of, so there were, even in those experiences, the negative ones
Mm-hmm.
always outweighed the positive.
Right.
In that experience, I'm not saying that's a truth. They don't always. At that time, my experience was.
And it can feel like that.
And it can feel like
we can
that.
take that internally.
Right. So I did a lot of stuffing. I expressed certain emotions like anger and frustration, but I stuffed other ones,
Mm-hmm.
like vulnerability and crying. And so as I got older and was able to be more comfortable with the full range, like the entire, kaleidoscope of emotions that we are gifted with, and they are such a gift.
Mm-hmm.
They really are.
Mm-hmm.
Think about doing anything repetitively and how long before it sucks the love out of it.
Right.
I think about athletes, right? And Malcolm Gladwell talks about the 10,000 hour rule in his book Outliers. And, it takes 10,000 hours of a discipline or a practice to really hit that perfection, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then I also have seen athletes or musicians or whatever, like Radiohead's Creep is one of my favorite songs of all time.
I can listen to it on. I'm going to have to do that now
I
when
know.
I leave in
I
my
listened
car.
to it this morning.
Yeah,
it helped to
repeat.
bring tears. And the acoustic version, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Because when it's just him and the guitar, he hated performing that song.
Really?
Hated it. His number one hit, the most demanded song at any concert, he hated that fucking song.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Every time he had to perform, he's like, rah, 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 rah. Hated that song. So, there's my point, right? Repetition can breed contempt.
Yeah.
But within that balance, right? So, imagine being all love all the time. Now, it can't breed contempt because it's all love all the time. But I would think that it could become a little repetitive, a little boring,
Right.
a little yeah, this is good.
Well, especially while we're in our meat suit. I mean, that's what we're talking
That's why
about,
we
right?
come to our meat suit, is so that we can take a vacation from the 24-hour love fest, right? And go to Fantasy Island, aka Earth.
We talked about that last week.
Yes, we did. And have a broader range and perspective, right? And how is this any different? I really want you guys to think about this like a vacation. Some vacations suck. We took a trip to Bryce National Forest and Zion National Park, which was the worst trip we ever took in my life. My uncle almost died going down the hill because his brakes went out. It was a terrible vacation. Almost lost a kid in the swamp. It was terrible. But we talked about that vacation. We still talk about it decades later.
Right.
Right? Because it was an experience and we shared it. But there were other vacations that were fantastic. And there were vacations where I did things that I would have never done before.
Right.
Like rappel on a zip line. I don't like heights. But I was on vacation and I wanted to stretch myself a little bit, so I did. Right? That is our soul's purpose here in this human meat suit incarnation. You packed your bag.
That's beautiful.
So self-discovery is a trip within.
And it opens up so many.
I think that's the title of our class.
Oh, wow. It opens up so many opportunities.
Yes, it does.
And so many doors and so many experiences that you would not have even seen.
And you get to know yourself at a much deeper, and I would venture to say better level. That's the one thing. You know, when I realized you can't unring the bell and I was stuck, and I wrestled with that for a minute, I'm not going to lie, I wouldn't change a thing.
Right.
I wouldn't give up waking up.
Yeah.
Because I see the fear in the eyes of those who are still asleep. And it haunts me.
Yeah.
Because it's terrifying. And that is why I show up here every week. I don't want anyone to be afraid of the dark anymore.
Right.
So, anything left to add on that? Because we're a little over. Last week we were 15 over, so I want to watch our time a little bit more today.
No, I think that's it.
I think that's enough.
I think that's it. So.
And thank you so much for showing up authentically today and then sharing that with all of us.
You bet.
Because you're just a gift.
Oh, well, thank you.
Now I'm getting emotional again.
Yes, here we go. Here we go. Riding the emotions. No, I can't imagine having this podcast with anyone else.
Oh, now I'm really going to get emotional. Okay, diddle. So, if you like us, please share with your friends. Tell people. The new phone book's here. No, not really. But we're here.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Yes.
All of the above.
All the above. YouTube,
Follow.
Facebook, Instagram, our website.
Our website, Podbean, all variation of In My Experience.
Yeah.
And you'll find our email and anything else. If there's anything that we ever talk about that you feel like you'd like to have more information in, or if you want to challenge us on,
Bring it.
yeah, bring it,
Bring it.
please.
And if you'd like a session, we're here for that too. We don't offer that because we feel like this is a group session.
Right.
But perhaps there's something that you would like to work with one of us one-on-one. We do offer sessions. You can go through our website to our individual websites because we do have our own individual businesses.
Absolutely.
We are partners in crime, but we're just now beginning a partnership in business.
Yes. Yes. After years of talking about it, here we are.
Yeah, so, and in any event, have a beautiful week in this first week of March. Sun is in Pisces. It's good for us. It should be good for you too, because who doesn't love a Pisces?
That's right.
Oh, wait. No, Pisces love everybody. That's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. All right, yeah.
I don't know. There seems to be a lot of people who don't love Pisces, but whatever.
I know, that's right. Right.
But also Venus is
gotta be
in
you.
Pisces. So it's about, it could be. Absolutely. Could be me. It's all about me.
Okay, Toby Keith.
That's right. Now, if my sister's listening, she will wholeheartedly agree and find that quite hysterical. You hear that, sister? All
There
right.
you go. She said it out loud, and it's on tape.
It's on, yes, it's recorded and is available for everyone to hear.
Oh, so much love. I'm Sonya Lee.
And I'm Piperlyne. Thank you for joining us.